Good morning you guys, it's Karen and I am here to... Sorry, I got distracted there by the fact that I said good morning, it's Karen. I'm trying to say that maybe on every other video because I think it must be annoying for those of you that have known me for years. You must be like, yes, I know who you are. But it's more for new people because when I'm watching videos, I would like to know who the person is. And so it's often really difficult to find out their actual name if it's not part of their channel name, you know. So that's why I do it. Anyway, I am here to do a review of Sculpted by Aimee foundation and concealer. The concealer was recommended to me by a friend, and when I was in, I had it in my basket, my Amazon basket, but never ended up getting it. I think because I wasn't sure about the colours, and then when I was in Boots, a really big Boots, I saw that they had the range, and so I got the foundation and the concealer and have been trialling them both. So we'll start off with the foundation. I've got videos of me applying it as well. In fact, let me just put that video in of me applying the foundation just now because I think it was the first time I used it, and so it's me kind of talking through what I think. Okay, let's see what this is like. I'm using a beauty blender, one of these lovely purple marble ones from Real Techniques. But this little nozzle seems to be a bit temperamental. That's not too bad. And what colour have I got? Fair. 2.00W. I just got the one that looked the closest to me that was in Boots. Okay, it seems to be quite thick, so use that a little bit all over my face. I do actually need that mirror closer, excuse me. That would have been ideal to do first. Well, it's easy to blend, and it seems to be a good colour match, doesn't it? It feels quite lightweight. I was expecting it to feel thick because when it comes out it seems like it's quite thick, you know, but that's actually pretty nice. Let me have a look close up. Yeah, that's just kind of disappeared into my face, hasn't it? But giving it a nice canvas. I'll put a little bit on my nose just to see how it builds up. I've got a tiny bit there, but it actually looks quite white when you put it on. It looks a bit bright. Bit light when I put it on, as if, oh no, this is going to be too light for me, but actually, like I said, when I've blended it, it seems to be a bit better. Yeah, it seems to blend okay as well. Build okay. I get so many words wrong sometimes, I don't know how you understand my videos. You can still see my red cheeks. I feel quite hot at the minute. You can still see my red cheeks coming through, which I think it's a good thing because it's kind of showing me my skin and I could build it up over there, you know. I like that. Nice. Okay, so let me tell you kind of some of the basics about this. So it's £27 is the first thing I would say. So it's quite expensive. I didn't really realise that until I saw it. And I actually picked up quite a few things from the range, and then when I added it all up, I was like, oh, that's an awful lot of money. I'm just going to buy a couple of things, you know. And I haven't bought foundation for a while. I'd really quite like to try some new foundations. If anybody's got any recommendations or any ones they want reviewed, let me know. So I chose the colour, I'm sure it's called Fair. Yeah, Fair 2.0W Fair. And that seems to be an okay match. I've got it on today, but today I mixed it with a little bit of Drunk Elephant. It's their bronzing drops, I think they're called, because it seemed to me like it was a little bit too light for me once I had a fake tan on, which is what I do have now. You wouldn't know it looking at me, would you? But yeah, I've got a fake tan on. So £27. It comes in 30 colours, so there is a big range. But in the Boots store I was in, I think there was about 8 colours displayed. So there might be another colour that was much better suited to me, but I think it's really hard to decide online, isn't it, if you're not used to the brand. The claims of this are that it's high coverage but lightweight, that it's sweat resistant, and that it has skin loving ingredients such as hyaluronic acid and vitamin E, niacinamide and Centellia asiatica. So I don't agree that it's high coverage. I would say that this is a medium coverage, medium to full. You can build it up to be a full coverage, but I would say a kind of first pass it's a medium coverage, maybe medium to high, but it's not, you know, I've used some really high coverage foundations and I don't think this is one. But it is very lightweight. It does feel really lovely and lightweight on the skin. It is, it's not a thick cream at all. I don't know whether I showed you it coming out of the bottle, but and what it looked like. It is a cream, you know, it's not a liquid, it's not going to drop on, but it is very light. It feels almost like a gel cream. It's funny because they've got their claims listed and then they've got like bullet points about the foundation, and in the claims it says it's a high coverage foundation, but then in the bullet points lower down it says medium to full buildable coverage. And so I thought, well, yeah, medium to full buildable, yes, but high coverage to me would be it's high coverage on first pass, which I don't think it is. There's no alcohol or fragrance in this, which is really good. I don't know whether it's sweat resistant. I haven't tested that out. Yes, it does have skin loving ingredients, but I'm not looking for my foundation to have SPF or to have skin loving ingredients particularly, because I don't feel like there's ever going to be a high enough concentration for them to do anything much at all. You know, I'd rather they had things in them to, you know, like powders to absorb oils and things like that. And they're going to be sitting on your skin, you know, so I'm not really too bothered about that. And I've never found a foundation that has made my skin feel tight or anything. And I've thought, oh, I wish that was a bit more. I mean, I do like the moisturising foundations like the Kiko Insta Moisture. It's really nice, but yeah, it's just not something I've ever looked for in my foundations. What I look for is the absence of things, so I don't want fragrance or alcohol in it, preferably, and there's no alcohol or fragrance in this one. So looking at the reviews, they were a little bit mixed, but the overall score was 4.5 out of 5. I think, again, I was looking on Boots to see what people were saying. And the kind of downsides people were saying was that it was too heavy, which I find really surprising because it doesn't feel heavy at all to me. It just shows you we're all so different. But there was only one saying that. But there was a lot talking about the shade range and saying that the shade matcher that they have is very wrong, and that some of them found the shades too orangey. And so obviously I can't comment on that because I've got one that's a little bit too light, and so it wouldn't tend to be orangey on me or, you know, be an odd colour. It's more if I get one that's a bit more suited to me, so maybe one colour down. So I haven't tested that side of things out, but just be aware of that. So you probably are better going into Boots and even testing a couple of the colours that are in there and seeing if, you know, they suit you and look okay. But the good reviews. Oh, sorry, there was one other thing. A lot of people said that the pump doesn't work. Now, you can see it did work there when I showed you it, but I have to say sometimes it is faulty, and that's what people are saying, that sometimes you press it and nothing comes out and you have to keep on pressing it. So I think that is a problem with the range. The good comments were that it's lightweight, long-lasting. Some people do think it's full coverage, but I definitely agree with the lightweight and long-lasting. So yeah, really good reviews overall. On me, I've said it lasted well. I have got a video actually, hopefully I've kept it. I took a video, which is unusual for me, of 7 hours after I had the foundation on. So I think I'd taken my lashes off and whatnot, but I just wanted to see what the foundation looked like. I hadn't touched it up at all. So I'll put that in, but I thought it had lasted really well. It hadn't like sunk in and disappeared from my chin completely. If a foundation is not going to last on me, I'll find like in my T-zone, you know, it'll be missing from my nose, it'll be missing from my chin, or it will look patchy, and I don't think it looked like that at all. It was maybe a little bit worn off, but more evenly, you know, so it was nice. I've said about the faulty pump, and then I've said nice but not worth £27 in my opinion. I can't even tell you what I would give you as an alternative to this in this price range, if you know what I mean. There are a few foundations I've used in the past that I would say are worth the higher price, but they kind of they were discontinued or didn't suit my skin type anymore. But I don't think there's any need for this to be £27. I think that's far too expensive. It is really nice and it is really long lasting. So I suppose if you haven't been able to find a foundation that's long lasting, then perhaps it is one that's worth a go. But maybe ask the shop person in Boots if you could get a little sample. I've done this with a few things that are not high end, because you know at the high end counters they'll tend to give you a sample, but I've taken in a tiny little plastic pot and asked if it's okay if I take some of the foundation and try it out, because this is £27, although it's not at one of the counters, you know, so it's expensive. So you might be able to do that. It's worth a shot, isn't it? But I don't think it's worth that money. It's not a repurchase for me, but it is one that I am going to use up, and I do really like it. Okay, onto the concealer, which is the Brighten Up concealer. There's a few different concealers in the range. This was £15. I'm really confused as to how many colours there are, because there's a list of 16 colours on the Boots website, but when you read the description of this, it tells you that there's 7 colours. So I'm not sure
what the case is, you know. But the claims about this are that it hydrates and has ultra fine brightening. So there's not huge claims, there's nothing amazing about that it hydrates and has ultra fine brightening, but it appealed to me because it had been recommended by my friend Holly. Concealers is something I'm really into because I love to brighten under my eyes, but everything that I try sits into my lines and makes them look a lot worse. And of course, that's not what I want. I want something that's going to give me coverage. I want something that's the right colour, but I also want something that's going to brighten but not make my lines look worse, which I always think is just a holy grail, but it's fun trying to find it, you know. The reviews on this gets a 4.7 out of 5, so again, really highly thought of. And the reviews are saying it doesn't sit in lines, it's great coverage, and it brightens. A lot of people are saying that. And so for me, oh, by the way, let me tell you the colour that I got, if I can find, where's my glasses? The colour I got is Ivory. And it's actually not that light. There is a colour lighter than this, I believe, but that's not, you can see that it sort of really matches my skin tone. So I wasn't sure if I should get a lighter one than that, you know, if this was going to be too dark, but it isn't at all. It is the perfect colour for me. That's what I've gotten today. And I think that it's bright enough that it brightens up, but it's not so bright that you can see. I mean, maybe in the camera, I don't know, maybe I'll watch it back and go, oh my God, you know, I don't think it's making me look like that panda eye thing too much. I don't mind it a little bit, but it's not too obvious a difference between my foundation and under my eyes. So for me, I've put it is really light, really lightweight, but it gives great coverage. I have got a video of me putting it on, so I'll put that in for you to watch as well. And it doesn't highlight lines. It's one of the few that I've used that I feel like this is great. It's not, I can't say that it's not making them worse, but it's not obviously making them worse. You can tell me what you think, because like I said, I've put the video in of me putting this on.
Time for concealer. This is in Ivory. It seems quite thin when I tested it, so I'm not going to be as careful as how much I put on as I needed to be with the Urban Decay. Yeah, it's quite thin. There's not an awful lot of coverage there. It's not a bad thing, I don't think. It's a nice colour match as well. You can see there's not much, doesn't do much to the bags or anything, does it? You can see a bit of a difference there. Nice. Oops. Put a bit thicker on this side and see how I get on. Okay. I suppose I would need a picture of me with concealer and without concealer, but I feel like obviously I would look like I've got less lines if there's no makeup on at all. I'm not ever going to find something that's going to, I mean, if I do find something that improves the lines or makes them look the same, then great. But it's the best one I've found so far to not highlight and sit in your lines. And that's saying something, I think, because I've had a lot of concealers I've enjoyed. I really enjoyed the Ordinary concealer, but there was more coverage in that and you only had to use a little amount, but I did feel like it instantly you could sort of see my lines. I do like the Urban Decay Quickie concealer, but I compared that with another one. What was it was a drugstore one, wasn't it? Do you remember they were completely different colours? I can't even remember what the drugstore one was, but whatever the drugstore one was, what was it that's going to bother me? Oh, the Revolution IRL concealer. The Revolution one didn't show up my lines as much, but it didn't have as much coverage as this. This, I feel like when I put it on, it's covering the darkness that I can see. It's giving me the brightness that I want without
filling in the lines. So I have to say, so far this is one of the best concealers I've used, and I'm going to continue to use it. And I have continued to use it actually. Like yesterday, what was I putting makeup on for yesterday? Can't think, but I looked at the two foundations in my bag. One was this Sculpted by Aimee. The other one was the Catrice Liquid HD foundation. And I was like, no, I'm not going to wear the Catrice. It's a better colour for me. It's more lightweight. No, not more lightweight. It is more liquidy, and it's got better coverage. You don't have to build it up like this. And I just preferred to choose that one. Whereas I've had this in my bag and I've used this every day over the Urban Decay one, or even the IRL one. I can't remember if I left the Revolution one in my bag or not, but I'm really enjoying this. So I highly recommend this one. I think that you will love it. And £15 isn't too bad, I think, for a concealer. You know, I mean, I don't know how long it's going to last, but it's quite a big tube. It's not tiny, and yeah, I'm really happy with that. So that's everything that I got from the range. Like I said, I was originally going to do a haul, and I had looked at their invisible setting powder, but it looked to me when I put it on my hand that it was just going to give a white cast, and if I can get a white cast, anybody that's darker than my skin is going to have a real problem with it. But you know, I think a lot of these say invisible and they're not invisible at all, so I didn't go for that. I did get one other item. I got a lip gloss. Excuse me, I got the hiccups there. I got a lip gloss, or a lip balm that is a gloss, but I haven't used it enough to really comment on it too much. But yeah, there was, like I said, there was other items there. A mascara I was going to get, and I thought, no, I like that collection. Is it collection mascara I use, or 17 mascara? So as long as that 17 one is still out, there's no need for me to look for a new mascara in high-end ones, unless there's something about it that really appeals, and there wasn't particularly with this one. So yeah, I don't think we're buying anything else in the range just now, but really enjoy that concealer. I would love to know what you guys think. It seems to be a popular range, and to be perfectly honest with you, I couldn't tell you who Aimee is. This Sculpted by Aimee, I've never seen her on YouTube. I wouldn't know her if I bumped into her in the street, but then I don't watch YouTube that much. You know, I don't really have that much time to watch things nowadays. But let me know what you've used in the range and what you've enjoyed, and I will speak to you again soon.